Dr. Michael Savage, many times he's been on the broadcast, usually just a few times a year, but he's been coming on for many years, says, Alex, you're getting me too worked up. I'm going to lose my voice. I'm yelling. Earlier, I really got mad, and I started screaming, and my voice is gone. So I'm in trouble here. So you'll have less interruptions the next 30 minutes with Dr. Savage than you normally get because I'm so angry. He was just bringing up during the break the head of the Green Party in the Bundestag in Germany, that's their Congress, saying, thank God we're bringing in nothing but Muslims because, you know, Germans are basically bad. We're getting rid of you. Sweden's running a TV ad saying there's no turning back. Swedish TV ad says Swedes must accept multiculturalism. I played the ad last hour and played again. This just illustrates our governments are consciously turning us over to Islam. And I'll be honest, with 3 terror attacks, the stabbing, the 2 bombings, Hillary for days, you know, saying Trump's wrong for saying bombing, wrong for saying terror. It's like seeing a blue sky, you know, wrong for saying blue sky. Then being forced to now come out and say, and I have the clip, that Trump is behind it. It's his fault because he wasn't nice to ISIS, because he criticized him. This is the collapse of the mainstream media's credibility. My problem is they're still running the country, but shows Trump has turned the tide ahead in a bunch of polls. There's so much to cover with Dr. Savage. This reported bomber was shot by the police. He's still alive. We'll roll some video for TV viewers of him being taken out on a stretcher. 2 police officers were shot. This guy last year had been bitching about police and was involved with Black Lives Matter. So this is a social justice warrior allied, obviously, with his home religion of Islam, another visitor to the country, another invader, just like the Somalis stabbing people, screaming Allah Akbar. So, Dr. Savage, you've got the floor. The new book, Scorched Earth, Restoring the Country After Obama. Michael Savage, #1 New York Times bestseller in bookstores everywhere. What do we do once we get the country back? We'll talk about that in part 2. But first, sir, the terror attacks obviously are front and center.
Well, the denial to begin with. The minute it happened, we knew it was an Islamic attack. Everyone did. I mean, let's say this. The first instinct of the Marine Corps run bombing, Muslim pipe bomb. That was my first reaction. I was right. Second attack, New York, dumpster bombing, Muslim. I was right. How many more attacks have to happen from Muslims till we realize that it's not happening in a vacuum, and it's not happening because of evil Donald Trump or because of Michael Savage or Alex Jones? You know, on my Facebook, I get this from the idiots, the liberals. They say, you know, if we didn't provoke them, if we didn't put them down, if we didn't demonize them, they wouldn't do it. And I have to patiently say, study your history. Islam has been at war with the world for 1,400 years. They don't learn that at Harvard. They don't learn that at Yale. They don't learn anything. So they don't know that Islam is a warlike, militant, political machine. And they've used the First Amendment, freedom of religion, to infiltrate and conquer every nation they've ever entered. In this country, for example, I was thinking about that this morning at dawn, Alex. I had an amazing sunrise this morning on San Francisco Bay. It looked like fire. I put it up on my Facebook page. It was one of those fire sunrises. The whole world looked like it lit up like something had hit the earth. It was burning. And all I could think about was how, not the Trojan horse metaphor, but specifically freedom of religion. And I said, wait a minute. There are limitations on freedom of speech, aren't there? In other words, you can't yell, kill this or kill that. You'd be taken off the air in 1 second and probably arrested. I have limitations. I have an internal auditor in my head, an internal censor. I don't say certain things because I know that I wouldn't last in the business for 22 years. I'd lose show, advertisers, you name it. So who says that religion should be protected 100% by the First Amendment? For example, what if psychos wake up one day, as they have, and they say they're a witch in their religion? Well, then, hey, you got warlocks now practicing witchcraft in the army. This is showing you how sick the country has become. Fine. Well, now let's say someone comes up with a religion and says, my religion says you can kill anyone who's not like us. Is that a religion? Sure. You got the protection of your religion. How about I can rape young children? Sure. It's a religion. No, it isn't. So in other words, if a religion woke up or someone created a religion of child molesting, everyone would say, I'm sorry, that's not a religion. If religion said you can kill anyone who's not like you, they'd say that's not a religion. Really? Well, look into Islam. It says kill the infidel in about 73 different places. If you find the infidel, slash his throat. Kill the Jew, kill the Christian, kill the apostate. So I'm saying right now, what moderate Muslims are saying, and I've had some of these people on, mainly they're women, by the way, I've often said, Alex, only the Muslim women can save us from these animals. It's the Muslim women who have to save us from these throwback animals. All the Ahmeds of the world, like the one in New Jersey who claimed racial discrimination. Didn't you see that one earlier? He sued the town and the police because they dared say that the chicken stand that his whole family was running was causing disturbances. So he got probably the geniuses from NYU Law School, and they sued the police in the little town in New Jersey for racism. You see, everything's racism. That's called the abuse of the First Amendment, get it? So I'm going back to my primary point. Why should everything in a religious book be permitted in the United States of America?
Why are we bringing people from countries that are in perpetual war, the most radical Muslim countries with these Sunnis and Wahhabis, where they're constantly just killing themselves, killing their wives and daughters, pouring acid on each other's faces? They're clearly lunatics. They're clearly under a 1,400-year cult. And so we shouldn't be bringing people here from the region of cult crazies.
Well, it all goes back to Barack Obama. We have a list. You probably have it. You have the greatest information in the business of how many Muslims have come in under Obama Clinton. She was Secretary of State. I think the number was something like 681,000 Muslims have been brought in under Hillary Clinton. Now, how many of them? I keep hearing most of them are peaceful. Fine. Okay, most of them are peaceful. So what is it, 1% are radicals? What's 1% of 700,000 rounded off?
A lot of people.
Oh, what, 10? Do the math fast. We should do in the fifth grade. 700,000, 10% is 70,000. 1% is 7,000. It's about 7,000 of them are now, 7,000 radicals they brought in. So it's no way, Savage, no, it's not 1% of Muslims are radical. No. It's 0.1%. Okay, it's not 7,000. It's only 700. So they brought in 700 more terrorists. No, Savage, it's not 0.1%. It's 0.01%. All right, so it's not 70, it's 7. You see what I'm saying? But you still.
But we know the numbers. This latest group, decades ago, it was heretics. It was people that did actually want to live in a freer country in most cases, who are fleeing Islam and were just Islamic with their roots. I've studied it. I know you've studied it. I've had scholars on. Now it's the worst third world areas that they're coming out of, where they're constantly killing each other. It's a bunch of Sunnis who invaded Syria, got their butt kicked, and now are coming through Turkey into Europe, into the United States. Interpol admits, as you know, Dr. Savage, 80% are military-age men. And when they do polls in Europe, upwards of 35% say they will support jihad and suicide bombing. Now, so 35% are terrorists.
All right, so you have a higher number than I do. I'm a liberal on that, Alec. You're the conservative. I'm saying only 1%, but the point I'm making is quite clear. Bring none of them in. Under Secretary Clinton, U.S. permanently resettled 31,000 Somali migrants. Thus, you know, the nice folks from Somalia, 80% of whom are still on welfare 15 years later.
That's right.
31,000 Somalis. Wait, it gets even better. Between 2009 and 13, while Hillary Clinton was served as Secretary of Hate, the U.S. permanently resettled 31,000 Somali migrants. We got that figure, right? During Clinton's time as Secretary of State, the U.S. resettled 680,000 migrants from Muslim nations. So when I say scorched earth, Alex, I am talking about a scorched earth policy of Obama and Clinton. It's not in a vacuum. How could people not know this? You played a tape earlier of the former KGB agent. The brainwashing is overwhelming. The people are dumb. If you say anything like this, racist, thisist, thatist, it's the Communist Party USA in cahoots with the progressives. Their goal is to blow America up and remake it in their image. You know, I had a nightmare vision the other night. I said, wait, could it be as bad as some of the conspiracists say, that Obama is actually a front for the Muslim Brotherhood, and that the FBI, which is now in total denial about what's going on in the country and has been for a while, the Federal Bureau of Islam, is it now the Federal Bureau of Islamization, Alex? Is that what it's become?
Dr. Savage, I would hear you 15 years ago on the radio and think this guy's really smart, but claiming that, you know, Islam wants to take over, it can't. We won't put up with it. Now you were been proven totally right, and they are running TV ads in every major European country saying you must submit to Islam. It is the new culture. I mean, I have ads that I aired, put out by the German and Swedish government that I aired last hour, where they say, you no longer are a Swede, you are a Muslim. So I want to ask you this, sir, world-traveled, you know, historian, you name it. What is the master plan by the George Soroses? What in the hell are they thinking?
I don't care what his master plan is. This emigre needs to be rounded up by Interpol, in my opinion. When Donald Trump becomes president, all I can say is George Soros better not be in America, because one of the first things that Trump has to do, I don't know how many different things he has to do at once. The first thing is the subversives.
I agree, and a good way to start, you just said it. Michael Savage and Alex Jones are calling for the war criminal wanted in many nations who's overthrown nations financially, allied with radical Islam. We are calling for George Soros to be deported the day Donald Trump is sworn in.
You can't deport him the first day. You can try him the first day. You can bring him in on charges of sedition, for example. Who gave this filthy billionaire emigre, this money changer in the temple of beauty, who gave this bum and his illegitimate, crazy family son? Did you see the son?
Total loon.
Here's the beautiful part. I had it up on my website. I couldn't believe it over Labor Day. It showed the son of Soros, the biggest party animal now in the Hamptons, in a $72 million house, hanging around with disgusting rap stars, filthy, degenerate models, the whole pack of America.
Oh, if you Google his image, his son, he's totally whacked out of his brain.
This cockeyed bum is now hanging out with the lowest of the scum in the rap world, the lowest of the scum from the runways, the gutter rats of the world, and now hanging out with Soros' son, party animals. And this man is now going to take his father's ill-gained fortune, and I say ill-gain because to me, money trading is ill-gain. You want to go into this? I don't know how people can bet against currencies and make a living. I don't know how that's allowed. Can you explain that to me? The man almost collapsed the British pound.
He admits he tries to collapse countries. He's been trying to collapse the dollar for 50 years.
All right. We know who the arch enemy of freedom is. He has a name. In our opinion, he should be tried. In Scorched Earth, I have a whole chapter not only on the head of the snake, but all the subversive groups that I could find in America. It's 2 pages long, Alex. Some of them have benign names you've never heard of. Some you know, ACLU. All of these groups need to be investigated by the new UAC, House Un-American Activities Committee. Now, I know that's a red flag to all of the good liberals out there.
It should be.
Well, it shouldn't be a red flag.
No, listen, I want to say this. I want to say something real quick and then let you take over. I've always been for free speech to the most radical level. The problem is they're all organizing and saying they want to shut down talk radio. They want to shut down Matt Drudge. They want to shut down Breitbart. Hillary says the alt-right, that means Michael Savage as the dean, does not have a right to exist. When you start hearing final solution, literal Nazi rhetoric that I don't have a right to exist, I've got a black heart, you're evil, Matt Drudge is evil, I'm done. Listen, you come here, you overthrow the country, you bring in radical Muslims, you want to arrest me? The gloves are off. We're going to try you in front of a jury. Then we're going to lock your asses up. You want it? We're going to find out who the traitors are. Go ahead.
Alex, you know, the left was famous at agitprop. I believe after this election, whoever wins, we need to have a people's tribunal and have mock trials of Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, George Soros, all of the names that we know are involved with destroying our sovereignty and going after our First Amendment. There's nothing prohibiting such agitprop.
You can be the prosecutor.
Who?
You.
No, I'm not good as a lawyer. I can't even imitate lawyers. But the thing is, Alex, listen, we got to slow down. There's a lot of work to be done because if Trump wins, and it looks like he could easily win unless they do one of 2 things, and I'm terrified of either of the options. One is the most horrible possibility. If it looks like he's going to beat her, you know they're not letting him get to the finish line. Let's let that hang in the air. Number 2, let us say he wins. Well, what happens then? He is surrounded by neocons. They have already triangulated Trump. You saw that last week. He already brought in I think was on your show last week, the former head of the CIA under, was it,
Obama. Came out and criticized Trump.
The former head of the CIA under Clinton. He's using him as an advisor?
You're right. It was sure that's Woolsey.
Yes, Woolsey. Why would he choose him? I'm already concerned about the whole. Trump will be on my radio show today, by the way,
Good.
Alex. He's scheduled to be on, and we're going to talk about terror. He's called for profiling today, incidentally, which of course is commonsensical, isn't it? Every cop in the world. I love the newspaper articles in the San Francisco area. They never show a perp unless he's got blonde hair and blue eyes. Can't find the perpetrator. You have to search.
By the way, in Sweden and Germany, they admit that even when it's a Muslim, they replace it with a blurred-out image of a blonde-haired German. And I interrupted you earlier when you were talking about how we go after subversives. When you're a multinational war criminal, former Nazi collaborator that's collapsed dozens of countries like George Soros, what do you do when a foreign power, a foreign group comes in and is trying to overthrow your country? What do we do to these subversives, just briefly? And then let's get back into, I agree, they're going to try to block Trump getting in. He's surging. His wave has turned into a tsunami. He's winning most of the battleground states. What are they going to do?
Why do you think blacks are coming over to him? Because they know she's a liar. I predicted 6 months ago that Hispanic males in particular will move to Trump.
Already happening.
For two reasons. I use common sense. I know these guys very well. They're a macho culture, number one. They don't like an old woman telling them what to do, let alone a woman. Number two, what does an Hispanic worker want? He wants what everyone else wants. I see them around construction sites every day. I bicycle by and talk to the pit crews, the foremen. These guys are building from 6 o'clock in the morning. They're the carpenters, they're the plumbers, they're the drywall. You know what I'm saying? And what do they have? The minute they get some money, they buy a pickup truck. They get some more money. They try to buy a little house in a far out suburb. I go to KFC on a weekend sometimes. Who do I see there? Hispanic men with their wives and their little daughters dressed up in a little dress. They just came from church. There's something beautiful there, Alex.
And they're driving American cars.
Yeah, but they don't want to be what they left behind in their hellhole, their third world polluted hellhole. They want the American dream. So who is their role model? They want to be like Donald Trump. They know they can't achieve that, but maybe they could be a little bit like him. Maybe some of his money and concept of making money will rub off on them.
Their grandkids could be like Trump. I mean, it took that long for Trump, too.
That's right. That's right. In other words, same in all of our families. My grandfather was an immigrant. Actually, my father was an immigrant. Sorry, not even my grandfather. I'm first-generation American. I keep saying I have one foot in the old world, one foot in the new. So I do recognize how hard it is to be an American if you just get here. But we were taught, learn English, work hard, you'll succeed. And if you don't, it's just the way it is, then maybe
And Mr. Savage, have you succeeded in everything? I mean, you've been successful in publishing, media, real estate, you name it.
It took me 30 years of struggle and being rejected. 1978, I earned my PhD from the University of California at Berkeley with straight A's. Not one university would hire me because I was the dreaded white male. They hired inferior. In every case, they hired women, minorities, and immigrants. And the ACLU proudly said, some Americans will have to put their lives on hold so others may move ahead. You don't know what it's like to shame yourself like I did. I had a sense of failure that no one will ever know. I don't want anyone to know. I was on the verge of suicide, but I wouldn't do it because of my children. I couldn't do that. I felt I had failed my ancestors, that after all this hard work, I couldn't even get a goddamn job teaching in a university because of the racism induced by the illegitimate, filthy scum called progressives.
But they forced you out into the real world where you dominated.
Academia can be the real world in some real science.
No, I mean, absolutely. But I'm saying they forced you to build your own world, and look how much bigger it was than in their world.
I'm the worst nightmare they ever had. I have more of an audience in 1 minute of my show than I would have in 1 year in a university.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Okay, so the point is, I get it. This was God's hand. I get that as well. I prayed to God. I don't want to go into God, but Alex, when I was at the lowest point of my life, I prayed to God to save me so I could do his work. It didn't happen 2 minutes later. A boom didn't go off in heaven, but I had to wait. I had to wait.
But the dominoes started falling.
Well, here we are, Alex. But listen, this is just the beginning. Our work's only beginning in January, not now.
I agree. I mean, Trump clearly is going to win by a landslide. They're going to try to steal it. What do we do if they steal it? What do we do once he gets in?
Stop the coming civil war. Take the first word out of it. When I published Stop the Coming Civil War 2 books ago, some really good friends of ours said, take the word stop out of the title. They put start the Civil War.
Yeah.
Start the coming Civil War. There's only so much a people can take until they've had enough. And then their freedom has to kick in because otherwise we're going to be slaves, all of us. There's nothing more to be said, Alex. I'm not calling for war. You know it's illegal. But there's a war going on. You know it. It's called Infowars.com. The information war. But why is the FBI in denial about radical Islam? I asked myself. Well, what if the Muslim Brotherhood had infiltrated them under the Obama administration? And moreover, Alex, I had the nightmare vision that Obama himself was an operative of the Muslim Brotherhood. And I've read this from underground sources now for years. Former intelligence agents said that the Muslim Brotherhood had infiltrated the United States of America and planted a president in there. I know it's crazy, can't be.
No, I heard you 10 years ago. It's all proof. It's happened. It happened. We know out of Kenya, they funded the overthrow of our ally in Egypt that was helping everybody live a stable life. I mean, this is evil. Our government allies with Wahhabists in Saudi Arabia.
Scorched Earth, Restoring America After Obama. I hate to keep talking about a book, but I have to
people need to get the book, and it's doing very well.
No, it's my manifesto. It's #1 on iTunes as an audio book. It's very interesting. #1 as an audio book. There is something going on out there, Alex. Then I wake up, bombings in New York, stabbings in Minneapolis. Is this not Obama's legacy? The Scorched Earth policy is practiced towards the police and the intelligence services, making them look the other way when they know who the terrorists are, not able to say it. Alex, it's going to get worse. But these horrible events that just occurred were the hand of God. Hillary slipping, hand of God. Terrorist events, hands of God. Every time these things happen, the people open their eyes just a little bit more. They wipe a little bit more of the wax out of their eyes, Alex. Trump, if he wins, that's where our trouble begins. That's where our work begins.
Well, listen, I know you're a busy man, but promise me in the next few weeks, months, before the election's over in 49 days, you'll come back on to talk about all this, Dr. Savage.
Only if you tell me you're going to preserve your voice for the rest of the day.
I will. Thank you so much. Donald Trump coming on your show in a few hours. Michael Savage, our guest. Thank you so much. The new book, Scorched Earth. Stay with us. Thank you, Dr. Savage.
You're the best, Alex. Keep it up.
Thank you. In the last 20 years, Infowars has paid its dues. We have proven that we are a cutting-edge news and information source. And when it comes to funding our operations, we take cutting edge to the next level with the highest quality supplements and nutraceuticals available. We have now more than 25 different amazing formulas available at InfoWarsStore.com. And the flagship is Super Male and Super Female Vitality, where we take thousands of years of the ancient knowledge and use high-tech modern technology to cold press these organic herbs to give you compounds that are meant to accentuate the body's normal function. We're making it easier than ever today with a special we're running for 2 weeks only. 20% off on these formulas at InfoWarsLife.com. Everyone out there watching and listening to me owes it to themselves to give Mother Nature a try and to try Super Male or Super Female Vitality.